Welcome back to Horrifying Stories. 17-year-old Alex Messenger went for a quick solo climb to the nearby ridge above their camp when an unlikely companion showed up uninvited. All of a sudden, a 600-pound grizzly bear appeared and charged right at him. This is his horrifying story. Viewer discretion is advised. It was in August 2005, in Canada's Northwest Territories. All the way from Minnesota, Alex was with his 5 other friends on a 6-week whitewater canoe trip. Their 600-mile wild adventure started from Lake Holdia and had already spent 4 weeks canoeing their way through the wilderness of the Northwest Territories. Headed for Baker Lake in the Arctic territory of Nunavut, the group of 6 set up camp at Princess Mary Lake. Alex decided to go on a quick climb to a ridge above their camp to bask in the captivating views of the vast Canadian wilderness and the lakes that cut through it. Not long after he reached the top, he noticed movement from across him. With a slight hint of brown fur, Alex initially thought it was a musk ox. However, in a matter of seconds, he quickly realized it wasn't when a 600-pound grizzly appeared 30 feet across him. As the bear emerged and caught sight of him, it seemed to have been caught off guard as much as Alex. With his heart pounding fast and body in fight or flight mode, he began to step back quietly and with a soft voice tried to calm the bear down, somehow attempting to let it know he was no threat. On all fours, the grizzly slowly approached him, seemingly trying to figure out what he had stumbled upon. Then, all of a sudden, the bear charged at him, growling. Alex screamed for help, but his friends were 200 yards away from him down at the campsite. There was no chance they could hear him from above. With nothing but a 15-pound camera case on his hand, Alex threw it forcefully in the direction of the bear. The group had brought bear sprays with them for the trip, but it was just back at camp. Alex didn't think of bringing one with him to the ridge, as the thought of coming across a bear never really crossed his mind. Thankfully, the camera case landed right on target. It hit the grizzly's snout and knocked its head to the side, giving him time to run out of the bear's way. The grizzly got sidetracked for a bit, but not long after, it charged at him again. With surprising speed, the bear easily caught up with Alex. The two ran around in circles as if in a bullfight. Alex did his best to escape the bear's huge paws. As their circle grew smaller, the grizzly swung its sharp claws at Alex. He dodged right in time as he barely missed the bear's claws. It only brushed his shoulder. Another swipe brushed through his back. However, when he tried to steer clear of the bear's jaws, the bear went for another slap with his huge paws and hit Alex right in his face, immediately sending Alex into the air. He landed hard on the ground, hitting his tailbone, and found himself pinned to the ground. The huge bear was now on top of him with its jaws clenched into his leg. As its sharp teeth sunk into both sides of his leg, he felt excruciating pain, then lost consciousness. The next thing he knew, having regained consciousness, Alex saw the bear slowly walking away. He continued playing dead as he carefully made sure the bear was completely out of sight. Then, as soon as he was sure the coast was clear, a sudden surge of adrenaline pushed him to get up and run around 150 yards towards the cliff overlooking the camp. With excruciating pain in his right leg drenched in blood, he screamed for help. At the camp, his friends heard his loud scream and immediately looked up. Initially, they thought he was joking, but when Alex managed to limp his way down back to camp, they couldn't believe what they saw. Without hesitation, 27-year-old Dan, the group's guide, came rushing to Alex. Now, his emergency response skills were suddenly put to test. Dan checked on Alex and saw deep punctures in his right thigh and in 4 other areas. The sharp claws of the bear left marked his back, ankle, and earlobe. The tips of 2 of his toes also got peeled off. Needless to say, Alex needed immediate medical help, but they were 100 miles away from the nearest settlement. The group decided to call the base camp using a satellite phone. They agreed it was best to push through with their original destination to Baker Lake. At this point, Alex could no longer walk any further, but his arms were still strong enough to slowly paddle his canoe, so they rowed their way to Baker Lake. As they made their way to Baker Lake, they would go on brief stops so Dan could clean his wounds and prevent any threat of infection. They also carefully calculated when Alex would need to take the pain relievers, trying to manage the limited stock they had in their first aid kit. Paddling was already a struggle in itself for Alex, and passing through white waters only made it harder. It was a slow and steady but agonizing journey, but the group never lost focus. Alex needed to have an anti-rabies injection within 12 days from the attack. However, 5 days into their journey, they were already at 30 Mile Lake when they saw early signs of infection in his wounds. Dan was left with no other choice but to perform an improvised surgery, trying to slice out the dying tissue to slow down the spread of the infection. Since it was not very far from Baker Lake, the standby medevac helicopter flew to 30 Mile Lake, and immediately Alex was airlifted to Baker Lake. Alex was put on intravenous antibiotics for 12 hours at Baker Lake before he was airlifted again to Winnipeg, where Alex got his first anti-rabies shot. He got 5 shots in total. Right after the whole group had been transported back to safety, Canadian game wardens were deployed to hunt the bear down. However, it was never found. After Alex was discharged from the hospital, he had to take oral antibiotics for 6 weeks and had to undergo wound care management. The wounds on his right thigh healed after 2 months, but it took about a year for Alex to fully recover. Having experienced firsthand what it feels to be the one needing rescue, Alex volunteered for a wilderness search and rescue team. He also authored a book entitled The 29th Day, recounting the day that changed his life forever. His scars didn't really manifest that much in his body. Sometimes when people look at him, they think his harrowing ordeal with the grizzly was all made up. But to Alex, the trauma that he has gone through was real. For many weeks, he has had to deal with nightmares and would wake up in the middle of the night thinking a bear was beside him. Now, 18 years since that horrifying day, the trauma still lingers. Though not as worse as it was before, Alex has become hypersensitive, quickly going in fight or flight mode at even the slightest triggers such as twig snaps. In the past few years, Alex has since been back to going on adventures in the Grizzly country, having been to Montana's Glacier National Park with friends, but now, never without a bear spray in hand. Thank you for making it this far. If you liked this video, please click the like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Feel free to drop your comments or story suggestions down below. We would love to hear from you. Again, thank you and see you on the next one.